In the spring of 1900, Béla Kiss arrived in the small town of Cinkota near Budapest, holding his certificate as a tinsmith and bundles of ambition for a new life. He appeared to be a polite, mild-mannered man. He married twice and had 2 daughters, earning the trust of his neighbors and townspeople, who regarded him as a model of hard-working manhood. But behind that calm exterior lurked a darker side, weaving its threads carefully, exploiting his passion for astrology and his attractive image to lure women through matrimonial ads in local newspapers. In the following years, Kiss placed ads claiming he was seeking a suitable wife, or sent letters claiming to be an astrologer who could unveil the secrets of the future. His messages often reached women who lived in relative isolation, far from suspicion, sometimes without close relatives. They would travel to his modest workshop, where he greeted them with a warm smile and promised to reassure and care for them. But behind the walls of that workshop stood large metal barrels lined up in a side room, all tightly sealed and filled with a liquid that resembled alcohol. At night, when the neighbors had gone home, Kiss would read the newcomer their star chart, then invite the victim to a private room to talk. Once the doors closed behind them, he would begin to strangle her slowly, then expertly drain the blood before submerging the body in a barrel, trusting that the alcohol would preserve it. This process repeated itself over and over, and later 24 barrels were discovered, telling the tragic story of 23 women and 1 man, believed to be someone Kiss attempted to try his deadly method on. In the summer of 1914, as World War I loomed, Kiss was called up for military service and forced to leave his home. It wasn't the first time he had changed addresses or used an alias. Hoffman was one of the names he occasionally used. But this time, his disappearance was official. He left his house keys with some neighbors, and his second wife returned to her family in Issazeg. With the authorities busy drafting young men and sending them to the front, the years passed, with Kiss far from sight. By May 1916, the old landlord returned to open the room adjacent to the workshop in preparation for renovation, thinking it was merely an abandoned storage room. But what he found surpassed the wildest imagination. 7 barrels sealed with sand and ropes, reeking of decay. Upon opening the first, the remains of a headless corpse wrapped in cloth were uncovered. In the other barrels, dismembered limbs and body parts emerged, belonging to people unrecorded in the town's registries. The local police and a town pharmacist were called in to examine the bodies and found that the liquid preservation used by Kiss had destroyed any trace of blood, making it extremely difficult to identify some of the victims. The investigations revealed horrific details: letters from women demanding financial compensation, bank documents showing large transfers to Kiss's account before each woman's disappearance. Some had filed complaints against him for stealing their savings, while others vanished without anyone knowing. But Kiss, who trained in his technical craft in Paris and had gained some fame as an astrologer, was able to forge correspondence dates and prolong his interviews with investigators, until the day they came to arrest him and found the place completely empty. Rumors began to circulate of his escape to Romania, then to French banks, and even of his arrival in the United States to begin a new life under a false name. In 1932, some passers-by claimed to have seen him aimlessly inspecting the Brooklyn Bridge in New York, but it was nothing more than an unproven rumor. No official trace of him was ever found afterward, and his end remains one of the most complex mysteries in global crime history. Thus ended the chapters of Béla Kiss's story, a man who began his life as a simple craftsman in a quiet town and ended as a dark legend in criminal records before World War I even began. In the pages of his memory remain lingering questions. What was the true number of his victims? How was he able to keep those secrets for so many years? And what is the mystery behind his disappearance? He left behind a legacy of terror, reminding us of the importance of society's vigilance and the danger of the smiles worn by those who conceal a monster inside, ready to strike at the right moment.